Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We start on 128. How good it is to be together. Hine Matov. Hine Matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. We turn to our candle lighting blessing on page 120, and we invite up, in honor of her birthday, Rhonda Weinberg. Please come on up.
75.
Well, I wasn't going to say.
It's a big deal. It's okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav mitzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
For those who are able, we rise together for our Kiddush, top of page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzabanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'asei b'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zeichel yitziat Mitzrayim Ki banu bacharta ve'otanu וקידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
Please be seated. Happy birthday. We continue together, the bottom of page 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We turn to Psalm 95, 130.
Lechu neranen al Adonai, nariya letzur isheinu. Lechu neranen al Adonai, nariya letzur isheinu. Nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot nariya lo, ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei haaretz v'toafot harim lo. אשר לא הים והוא עשהו, ויבשת ידיו יצרו, כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו אמר איתו וצאן ידו. Join me on 138 singing the pinnacle of Kabbalat Shabbat, Lecha Dodi. Chandoni likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechandoni likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechandoni likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה ממחשם בתחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise together to greet Shabbat Melka.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue to the bottom of page 145. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There's no place on earth without the presence. We stay right here, Chetzi Kaddish 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה מן כל מחתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ואמרו Amen.
We rise together 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam ba'ed, le'olam ba'ed. Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai.
Please be seated. The bottom of page 149 together. This is an hour of change Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. On the next page.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, mishochveinu uvkumeinu, nasiach mechukecha, menismach medivrei Toratecha, uvemitzvotecha, leolam vaed. Ki heim chayenu ve'orech yameinu ubahem nehegeh yomam v'layla ve'hambatecha al tasir mimenu leolamim baruch atah Adonai Ohei bamo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Together to the bottom of page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, Time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Our song of freedom, our Micha Mocha, on the next page.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osei beleh, tehilot, osei beleh, Adonai melech leolam vaed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'eliyanu ve'amru, Se'eliyanu ve'amru Adonai Himelech le'olam vaed. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
The bottom of 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over all Jerusalem and yours. We stay right here, 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu
The top of page 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Vishamru 162.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashambat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת מי נפש.
The middle of page 165. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer will not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. For those who are able, we rise together for our Tefillah 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We continue the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We continue with our Ritzei on the next page.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam me'ahava dekamel U'tehile ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael amecha El karov lechol kore'ah fenei elavadecha mechonenu shefoch ruchacha Zena einenu beshuvcha leTzion berachamim Baruch atah Shechinato LeTzion LeTzion LeTzion
179 together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. Make its temperate reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol ha-shalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol ha-shalom. Betom einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. You take a few moments for private prayer. יהי לרצון אמרי פי, יהי לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you. O God, my rock and my redeemer. O say shalom bimromav. ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל מאמרו Amen. Excuse me.
At this moment in our service, we think of those in our community, those especially who are in need of healing of body or spirit. We think of Jeremy Applebaum, Sophia Barry, David Byram, Orit Cohen, Joseph Fleming, Tom Fleming, Sidney Land, Marilyn Leeds, Richard Magnati, Michal Mizuritz, Paul Musteller, Stephen Muss, Ron Ostreicher, Malka Bat Rachel, Jerry Sklar, Tyler Strassner, Alan Unger, and Brenda Weinstein. For those who are with us tonight, if you're thinking of a loved one, someone who means so much to you, and you choose to share their name out loud, we invite you to do so either by rising or my eyes meet yours. Go ahead, Toby. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts on Misha Berach, our prayer for healing 371.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishem Berach Imoteinu Mekor HaBracha La'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and to let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbos.
Sometimes a couple things can be true at the same time, even though they may be opposite of our understanding of our own worldview. And I shall explain. Last week, for those who are not here, or for those who did not hear the sermon online, I talked about my recent mission trip coming back from Israel representing Temple here. The trip was absolutely brutal, but on the other hand, the most important trip of my life. On that Friday night last week, a congregation was visiting us, high school confirmation from back east, here on a civil rights trip. And I think it's absolutely paramount that we still get our civil rights students, they get to see our history, learn about it, and at the same time, they get to see the progress that we have made. Upon completion of our service last week, a couple of those students came up to me and challenged me about my remarks on the Bima. They challenged me, they pressed me. They were upset with me as to why I did not talk about Israel's killing of 40,000 Palestinians in Gaza. And this is when I finally realized it doesn't matter the facts that we know. It doesn't matter the nuances. It doesn't matter that I could throw every single statistic at them and talk about where they're getting the information. It was utterly impossible to get through them. Utterly impossible. I almost say that when Holocaust survivors returned in 1945, I don't think the Jewish communities in this country were pressing the British forces and the American forces as their bombing campaigns in Dresden and throughout Europe and Japan. And to be honest, it crushed me. Teenagers from a Reformed congregation back east was so hyper-focused on not of our own people during the worst time in our lives since 1945. I went home, called my mentors, spoke to my family, trying to process the difficulty of trying to reach to a generation that truly sees this war as something else. And it's so weird how Judaism can speak to you. Because here we are in Parshat Bo, the second parsha in the book of Exodus, and we start beginning to learn about the plagues. And our rabbis, centuries ago, truly know how to get to our neshama, to our soul. They teach us that the plagues were not only for the Egyptians. And ideally, God wanted to have one plague for the Egyptians to fear the God of Israel in order for them to be free, and at the same time, that plague was intended for the Israelites to see the God of Israel is real, and God will redeem you. But due to hubris, arrogance, the inability to believe, so many Israelites closed their eyes and still did not believe in the power of the reality that they were witnessing then. So this is what's at stake for the Jewish people today. We have the plagues in the world, and we have some in our own communities that represent the Israelites who didn't see the plagues then. And I can't let this be the direction in which we shall go moving forward. And therefore, despite my absolute dismay, I am more strengthened than ever to get this congregation where it needs to be with regard to empathy and embracing a new form of Israel action work. For those who did not hear last week's sermon, I'm calling on this congregation, if you so choose, to please email Charlie Collette or Adam Gordon, our Board of Governors, and ask them to adopt language in our mission statement that supports the state of Israel and the Jewish people worldwide. Please email them. Second, I was moving fast. We've already made connections with the Reformed congregation in Rosh Ayin, Bavat Ha'ayin, a congregation that we once had a relationship with. Larry Brooks showed me the incredible photo with Rabbi Miller and Rabbi Scott of the Torah. And we will be re-solidifying this relationship and more information to come. I've already spoken to Elizabeth Block, and we are moving fast with regard to Heller High in Tel Aviv and Alexander Must High School, that we are seeking teenagers that are willing to spend forgo a semester in their high school here in order to be in Israel. A game-changing opportunity, an opportunity that will solidify one's Zionism. And we learned that we have alumni at Temple who participated in this experience, from Andy Rotenstreich to Stephanie Friedman. 4, I've been emailing people asking them to join an Israel Action Committee. It cannot be alone. I need your help. And finally, a tentative time frame, a possible mission trip to Israel in early November of 2026. That gives us some time, 2026. And young families out there, that gives you plenty enough time to find babysitters, because we need you on this trip especially. Because here's what's going on right now. For 6 weeks, we're in the second week of the 6-week ceasefire phase in Israel. The Israelis are experiencing probably the worst forms of psychological terror that I don't think any of us could possibly comprehend. In order to have this empathy of rock, we saw the release of Emily Damari, Daron Steinbecker, Romy Gonen. We saw them being delivered by the grotesque signs of Hamas, celebrating a victory against the Jewish state, dressing them up in Palestinian garb and giving them a gift bag of photos while they were in captivity. Celebrated, chanting of their victory, and handing them over to the passive, I'm being kind, International Red Cross as they brought them back to Israel. And immediately as we saw the images of these 3 women being with their mothers, a celebration of life that's something we will never, ever forget in our minds. And especially seeing the courage of Emily Damari, whose 2 fingers were shot off, has become a symbol of resistance in Israel. And like so many Israelis do, the image of her hand in the baggage has become tattooed on many bodies to show that even in dark times, the Israelis will rise again to the challenge. And then, God willing, tomorrow, we'll see the images of Karina Erev, Danielle Gaboa, Larry Albag, and Alma Levy. Soldiers come back and be greeted by their families. We will see the same scenes in Gaza, where Hamas will celebrate a victory. But upon their return back to the land of Israel, you can see some of that uncertainty among the Israeli population have a little bit more healing. As Americans, I don't think we've ever experienced anything like this before. You know, I can remember 1979, 1980, when our Americans were held hostage in the American embassy in Iran. But that's nearly 4 decades ago. And I'm highly confident that most Americans can't recall the names of those Americans who were held hostage in Iran. And the proportionality between America's population and Israel's population, again, it's apples and oranges. That the first time, actually in collective Jewish history, this is what Israel is facing. So when we think about life, and we think about perspective, and we think about the ebbs and flows of our everyday reality, I want us to take the time to be thankful in the country in which we live in, and at the same time be empathic, aware that the next 5 weeks of the Israeli corpus, the Israeli ethos, is going to be in spiritual and mental disarray. And so as I conclude my remarks and the mission that we face as Birmingham Jews, later on in this week, my frustration, my anger towards these high school students, it started to ease. Because I recognize one in high school is different when one becomes 28 and then 38. In Rosh Hashanah, it's the season of change, and I hope to God one day in life they'll remember this moment. But here is the cruel paradox in which they must experience. It's only a matter of time before our Holocaust survivors will pass away due to old age and other ailments. And in order for our teens to learn about the Holocaust, they'll resort to video, movies, museums about the Shoah. And in a way, we were okay with this. But now, never in our imagination that we would have a new generation of survivors. A new generation of survivors that will tell their story for decades and decades and decades to come. And once their testimony is recorded and museums are erected, I am not willing to lose faith on a generation right now that is still living in the plagues of Egypt. So we have another obligation. We're going to be like the American Jews in 1945 who endeavored to ensure that these stories were solidified. And we're going to do the same thing for those Jews, those Israelis, those Arab Israelis, those who experienced the worst form of evil a year and a half ago. If we are going to be a formidable Jewish community for years to come, we got to understand what's at stake. And Judaism is committed to remembering what happened and ensuring that those memories are reminded for future generations to come. It is going to be a brutal 5 weeks for Israel. But I ask this congregation in some capacity to lift them up and to try to bring them to their despair out of it. Shabbat Shalom. We rise together, Aleinu 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. מה אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לבני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. On this Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Audrey Allen, Ruth Applebaum, Daniel Mark Blitz, Henry Buxman, Ann Brick, Rachel Cherner, Melvin Cohen, Marco Cohen, Mitchell Cotton, Harriet Damson, Reva Levy Engel, Blanche Marks Erdrich, Celia Farguson, Irving Fies, Paul Fraser, Julia Sachs Freebaum, Jacob Friedman, Molly Licht Friedman, Hermione Friend, Millie Gandler, Adrian Gerson, Dr. Sidney Gawant, Hyman Goldberg, Paul D. Goldblatt, Jerry Richard Goldstein, Herman Grabov, Elizabeth A. Gercio, Clara Gurevich, Eli Hannon, Jimmy Hess, Edwin J. Hiller, Basil Isaac Hershkovitz, Adolf Kessler, June Land, Nettie Klein Landy, Mildred Lapidus, Scott William Leader, Gerald Lewis, Luis W. Louie, Lois Joan Matz, Herman May, Irving May, Florence Lorch Mayer, Julie Munsky Metzger, Rose Mayer, Willeen Engel Mitnick, Barbara Oliver, Dan Joseph Patrick, Sidney Patterson, Rose Perrin, Ignatz Phillips, Lee Joseph Phillips, Sarah Pinchas Robinson, Bertha Rosenfeld, Rachel Rosenthal, Gloria Sag, Nathan Sachs, Minnie Sachs, Corrine Schwartz, Eva Siegel, Celia Miriam Sugarman, Abe Slotnick, Murray Sokol, Nathan Solomon, Abe Stein, William Strauss, Al Toronto, Irving B. Warner, Norma Warren, Sarah Weinberg, Melvin Wyman, and Margaret Hirsch Weiss, and our heartfelt condolences of those who passed away in the Shloshim, Larry Hecht, Dr. Robert May, Rosemary Travalut, and Herbert Young Sr. If it is your custom to rise for a Mortis Kaddish, we invite you to do so, and we turn to page 598. Yikadal Vikadash Shemei Rabbah, Biomad Yivrach Rote Vamlich Malchute, B'chayachon of Yom Echon, Uvchayed Kol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Vizman Kariv Yimru.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam Alamel Maya. Yiparach V'hishabach Hipa'ar Hitromam Hitnaseh. Vita Dar Vita Le Vita Lal Shmei Rekudsha.
Brichu.
Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbechata V'nechamata. Damin Ram Yoma V'imru.
Amen.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'imru.
Amen.
O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, v'imru.
Amen. O say shalom bimromav, huya say shalom, aleinu ve'akol Yisrael, me'imeru. Amen.
Before we conclude with Hatikvah 678, just a few announcements. Please join us this Sunday, my class at 10 a.m. The board wants me doing this, so it's weird talking about myself in the first person, but nevertheless, 10 a.m. we're going to be learning about controversial topics in the biblical text. And then after the Federation meeting, which I hope you attend, our annual meeting, which will be at Beth El, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be engaging in the debrief of my trip to Israel. We're really going to get into it, all of the minutia. I also want to make an announcement. This is for Jeff. Our sister congregation, IPC, they're having their annual Religious Arts Festival, the 54th year, and Jeff has planned all 54 years. I'm just kidding. But here's why I want to announce it, because on Sunday, February 2nd, his wife, Amy, who's a remarkable pianist and composer, she'll have Daniel Sizos on violin and Chi Yang on cello at 4 p.m. in the Great Hall, and I just want everyone to know because of our incredible relationship with IPC. Shabbat Shalom. Let's sing for hope.
Kol od balev afenima, nefesh Yehudi homia, ulfatei mizrach kadima, hain letzion Sophia. Od lo avda tikvateinu, התקווה בת שנות 2000, ליותם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. ליותם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbos.